Yeah, I get it. I have a baby face. Let's move on. You have to think that the Jets are doing something. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today we're going to be talking about, well, what's next? Obviously, we've spent the last couple of months going over all of the things that could be going on with the New York Jets, right? Talking about, well, the first round of free agency, talking about the draft, recapping the draft, doing all that stuff. But the job's not over. Joe Douglas doesn't get to take a break. And if you watch the previous show of the Armchair GM, this is kind of what me and Green Bean tried to take at least a little bit of a dive on. And today I want to do a little bit of a deeper dive on that topic, talking about the 4.5 positions that the New York Jets can still go out and get an upgrade at. And what do I mean by they can go and get an upgrade? Well, what I did was I evaluated the New York Jets roster, and I went position group for position group, and I looked at the remaining free agencies and the free agents and combined that with the draft to say, what rooms could we still maybe use some help at, and came up with a list. And let's go right into it. The first one, we're not going to talk about any players because there really isn't anybody left, but is a group that I would look at possibly bringing in a body for camp for just pushing the bottom end of the roster. I know Green Bean's a big fan of Kenny Yeboah, but I think the tight end room can get better. And there might be guys that are out there that can help, whether that's a guy like Tyler Kroft, who, again, he's just a veteran, kind of knows what he's doing in the NFL. Maybe you can bring him in. Wesco. There are different guys there, but I doubt we really bring anybody in that position group, and that's why they're not really on this list. But let's go from least important in my eyes to most important. We're going to start with edge. As the first group. After trading JFM, which is absolutely boggles my mind on the value that we got for JFM, the timing of the trade for JFM, just nothing really made sense. The only thing that made sense about the JFM trade was that we were very clearly clearing up cap space for a move, right? You weren't going to carry a Hassan Reddick contract and a JFM contract all at the same time. So you were going to move on from JFM. I get and understand that at least a little bit. My expectation is that a Hassan Reddick contract is going to be coming in soon, right? You're not going to just carry him for 1 year, especially at $15 million. So they're going to redo his contract, give him a new extension with a new number, and lower that $15 million cap hit this year. That's expected. But with this new cap space, there needs to be a move. And one of the moves that the New York Jets can be at the edge position to help fill in some of the lost production from JFM. My expectation is that Jermaine Johnson is going to play that JFM role of being the run stopper that can also pass rush, and he can do that at a much higher level than JFM could. On the other side of that, we're going to get Hassan Reddick playing more of what I think we wanted Carl Lawson to be. Hair on fire, going after the pass rusher, having the linebackers cover him over the top on that end in his deficiencies in the run game. And then having a guy like Will McDonald really just be a prioritized, specialized pass rusher, go get the quarterback, and all of that stuff in your NASCAR packages. And while we do have Michael Clemens as the fourth edge rusher, I don't think Michael Clemens is so good that you can't look for an upgrade. If we went into the season and Michael Clemens is edge 4, I'm totally cool with that. He's back to losing weight and mainly prioritizing playing the edge, which I think is good for his career. But there are some guys that are available that might interest you, specifically guys like Bud Dupree, Carl Lawson, if he wants to come back with the Jets, but a name that I would definitely consider at in and around $5 million would be Calais Campbell, I know that he flirted with the Jets last year and it didn't end up working out. Maybe there can be a match made in heaven there. I doubt we go and address the defensive end room just because we've done a lot of work in the defensive end room, and Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson and Hassan Reddick, and signing the new guys on the interior of the defensive line, getting Leonard Taylor. I'm a real big fan of Leonard Taylor, so I think we've got a room there, but I don't think you can just throw edge away and forget about it. There are guys there that you can definitely bring in. Now, the next position that, look, not as important as the other two because we've addressed it and we've done a good job of addressing it, but that is wide receiver. My expectation is that if the New York Jets cleared a ton of this space up, we always kind of knew that they might address these other two positions, but for the second most important spot, I went between was wide receiver and safety, and I just gave safety the edge because I think they definitely need the upgrade, where wide receiver, with the drafting of Malachi Corley and Mike Williams and Alan Lazard playing with Aaron Rodgers, which we know he's not going to be horrible, and Jason Brownlee with Aaron Rodgers, because they had a really good connection at training camp last year, and Xavier Gibson showing flashes. There's enough talent on the wide receiver room, but it can use an upgrade, and with guys like Hunter Renfrow, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Boyd, MVS, Zay Jones, Allen Robinson, DJ Chark. There are guys that are available that can come in and help this team at that wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 position. Would you take a shot on a guy like Chase Claypool for a league min deal, knowing that at wide receiver 5, his real job is just to stretch the field and be a burner? I don't know with all of the character concerns that he has, but there are guys that are available that I would be interested in bringing in. Tyler Boyd being, in my opinion, the number one target. He would provide you with another type of wide receiver that we don't really have, the big slot and all of those things. And so just getting as many moving pieces in that wide receiver room as possible. And I mentioned the second most important position in my eyes, and that was safety. And really, the biggest thing that I look at with safety is that we're one injury away from disaster. And now, depending on how you feel about our fifth and seventh round pick in the Toronto Argonauts Quantez Stickers or Alabama's Jalen Key and where they're going to play, you can look at our safety room and say, if Tony Adams goes down, we really don't have a free safety to back him up. Chuck Clark is coming off of an ACL injury, and do you totally trust Ashton Davis to play 100% of the snaps as your safety? And then you've got do you really believe in Jared Bernard-Converse, yada, yada, yada. There are guys that can come in and be impact players for the New York Jets. And while I don't necessarily think that we're going to be in the Justin Simmons, Quandre Diggs market, there are guys that are available. Go get Justin Simmons. Go get Quandre Diggs. Go get Micah Hyde. Those are guys that could definitely come in and be productive. But if you're looking for a veteran to come into that room and just solidify the free safety position, be that single high guy that you can rely on just in case, and it'll push Tony Adams. Former 49er Tashaun Gibson is a guy that I'm really interested in. I don't think he would command all that much money. I think you could get him for a veteran minimum deal, especially at the age of 34. And as a primary backup, this would be a high-level guy, very intelligent, played relatively well for San Francisco, helped them go on their Super Bowl run, and you can go there. But to me, the most important position that this New York Jets need to address, no matter what, is interior offensive line. Hands down, period. There are a ton of players that are out there that you can bring in to help back up the interior of the offensive line. Right now, the backups on the interior of the offensive line are Jake Hansen, Xavier Newman, and Wes Schweitzer. And depending on what you believe with Max Mitchell, there are some people that believe that his ultimate role is going to be moving inside and being a backup there. The reality is that with all 4 of those guys, and I still love Max Mitchell, and I think that he has potential, and I hope that he can win some of you guys back when he finally has an offseason where he can focus on his health, put on some weight, and all of those things. All 4 of those guys could use an upgrade. None of them should be handed a job on the roster, period. And there are free agents that could definitely come in and upgrade this team. Specifically, a guy like Dalton Risner. I do not understand why the NFL and NFL executives continue to sleep on Dalton Risner. All he did was come in halfway through the season, not halfway, but a little bit into the season to the Vikings when they had injuries on their offensive line, and immediately helped the interior of the offensive line. And I believe he played left guard for them the entire year once he came in, and he was solid. The good thing with a guy like Dalton Risner is he'd be a really, really high-level backup, and I don't think he would cost you all that much money to bring him in. And my biggest fear is that with Alijah Vera-Tucker finding his home at right guard, the loading up and the constant pressure is going to be a problem for him. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get re-injured, but my expectation that Alijah Vera-Tucker is going to be able to play all 17 games is not one that I have a ton of faith in. So bringing in a guy like Dalton Risner. Now, if you wanted to go more bodies, because I think Dalton Risner is going to be in that $4 to $5 million range, and you instead decided that you wanted to bring in a bunch of bodies instead of just one guy, you could always bring back Connor McGovern, and there are other guys that are available in the interior of the offensive line as well. Connor McGovern, Nick Gates, Andreas Pete, Mason Cole, guys that I don't think are going to cost you a ton of money that could be, relatively high-level backups. Justin Pugh actually played well for the Giants. Keep him and bring him around. There are guys that are available that I don't think are going to cost you a ton of money, and you need to find upgrades on the interior of the offensive line, period, because ultimately two of the three of the guys that I mentioned in terms of Wes Schweitzer, Jake Hansen, and Xavier Newman should not make the final 53 roster. We should be able to find upgrades, and we should be able to do that relatively inexpensively. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think the New York Jets should prioritize now that the draft is over? Who do you want to bring in and why? Let me know in the comment section below all of your thoughts. And last but not least, go Jets.